Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Andrew Cooper Knight and I run Inspire Life Guidance, which deals with counseling, life coaching, hypnotherapy, astrology, soul plan, and amongst other things, tarot cards. So, what am I here for today? I always use my lovely Rider-Waite deck. These are the decks that I was taught on, and these are the decks that I teach with, having now been teaching other students for quite some time. The one thing that I definitely like to do during a tarot class is to dispel any myths. And for anybody that's now tuned in, I'm sure that you're all very au fait with tarot cards and they don't worry you at all. But for some people, if we have clients that come to us, their first concern may well be what we call the death card. Now, with the death card, the tower card, the hanged man, the devil, all of these may cause concern for a client just because they don't understand what the cards are showing us, which is fine because after all, that's my job. That's the job of tarot readers across the world. But what I do like to do is to start with the death card just to ask if anybody has had a reading already. And if they have or haven't, if they've got any preconceived ideas about any of the cards or are there any cards they don't want to see. Usually we find that the cards that hold a lot of darkness, the black color, such as the 9, 10 of swords, perhaps the death card and the tower card, these are ones that people look a little bit askance at if they were to come out in a reading. So let me start today on the first of our YouTube videos with the death card. What I would ask my students to do when looking at this death card is to tell me, what do they see first? What do they focus on? How does it make them feel? Do they pick up any words or any symbology when they're looking at this card? Because after all, this card, amongst all the others, are just a piece of artwork. A very good piece of artwork done by Pamela Coleman Smith back in the day, but a deck of tarot cards, a traditional deck, is going to be 78 of these. 78 beautiful pieces of artwork containing colour, imagery, symbology that will help us as a practitioner, as the reader, to read the card for our client. So the death card, if you can see that, we have the skeleton in a suit of armor, astride a beautiful white horse. The white horse has one foot slightly raised. The skeleton is holding a flag, and upon that flag is a white rose or white flower with a black background. In the background, we can see a sun setting or rising in between two towers. We see this religious person, possibly a priest or a pope, in front of the horse. And further down, we see a couple of youngsters also looking away or to the horse. Way in the distance, we actually got a little boat there, a little ship that's sailing along calm waters. And we also have a body lying down under the horse. Now, these are just some of the parts of the imagery that we could have seen or focused on in a card. Death itself in tarot is about an ending. But by virtue of that, it's also about a new beginning. So it's about the whole transition that we face between leaving something behind and moving on to something new. Now, depending on your client, depending on what questions they may have had when they came to see you, this could be a very exciting time for them. It could be very daunting. If somebody is facing you and they're not very good at accepting change or working through change, then receiving the death card to confirm that change is afoot could leave them feeling slightly worried about how they're going to cope with that change. However, one of the many ways that we can look at this card, if we come back to the imagery, the skeleton is wearing a suit of armor. Suit of armor provides protection, which tells me that our client is well protected during this whole process, if this is what I focus on first. If I looked at the skull, I may think about the vulnerability that is attached to my client, about how they're feeling right now. Let's look at the horse. The horse is standing there, one forefront, one forehoof, and one raised. They're ready to step forward. But they're not doing this in an unbalanced way. They seem perfectly fine to stand there and wait. So there may be a time lapse that is occurring here and that is necessary for our client. But they will be able to step forward. hesitantly, or confidently. The priest here at the front, this may be the person that our client needs to go to seek advice. Maybe they need to bring others on board, because unless they do so, they're going to find it harder to move forward. The sun rising or setting in the background, if that is what you see first, is very much predicting the end or the beginning of a new day. And here we have an immediate translation to the end of a phase in our client's life or the beginning of a brand new one. If you were to focus on the ship here, sailing along on the waters look calm, just a few ripples. But this ship is sailing happily along. It may not be at any great speed, but there may be great speed is not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody to here to have a considered journey, a considered way through the changes that face them. Finally, putting something to rest. Maybe the focus here is more on the ending and how important it is for our client to finish this situation, to move away from a situation. Now, as I've said before, the death card does not signify the death of a person. This guy lying on the floor may signify the end of a relationship, a friendship, a work commitment, job, symbolic of something being laid to rest, and how important it is for our client to be able to do that. The children here again could signify some form of vulnerability. If you were to focus on the child here looking away, looking almost at us, this could be ignoring the change that is to come, not wanting to face up to it, not wanting to believe that there is a change that now needs to take place. Over all of this, we have a beautiful clear sky, no clouds, which tells us that this journey does not need to be a problematic one. This journey can be plain sailing. It can be smooth. It can actually clear our person's mind. It may give them new skills. It may give them new opportunities and new enthusiasm. But it certainly doesn't mean to say that having the death card is going to leave our client in any way anxious or with problems ahead. So, the death card, I actually embrace this card. I encourage it. I love it when I see this in a reading because it shows that our client is willing to progress. They're moving forward. They're moving through and on. And in doing so, they may be able to face some of their own challenges, some triggers, maybe even some instances from their past that's come back to haunt them as their adult self. So to dispel the myth, the death card is nothing to be frightened of. And if you receive the death card in a reading, look forward. Think about the skills, the abilities that you can bring to play. Think about those around you that will support you in this change or transition. Because the death card is a good card to get. That'll be me for today. And watch out for further videos when we discuss further aspects of my work, whether tarot, astrology, counselling, or anything else connected to healing. I'll see you soon.